everybody, Debbie here, and welcome back to my Crafty Den. I am working on 2 ATC cards, and these are for a swap, and they are in the theme is, let me see, the theme is Vintage Ladies. So if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Thanks for joining me today, and I'm so glad you could come. If you see something that you like and you decide you want to stick around for a while, that would be really, really great. Just hit the subscribe button. And if you are back again, then thanks so much for supporting my channel. So today I am working on these 2 ATCs, and because it's a vintage lady theme, I have this old, it's the instruction sheet from a pattern, from an old pattern, a McCall's pattern. Look at this, these images right here. Aren't they awesome? I think that these little images right here would be absolutely the best to use just as little images on themselves. So I think I'll keep this because they are screaming tiny embellishments to me, to make them into embellishments. But what I'm looking for is just a section with some writing on it like this. So that's what I'm going to do, I think. There's nothing on the back of this. I am just going to rip a piece of this off and put this away for a different project. Going through your stash, sometimes you find things that you don't even know you had. Yeah, I'm going to start by Mod Podging. I think I'm going to leave the white on the back, and then I can just stamp right on the back of the cards, and I'll use this side to create on. So I'm going to open this Mod Podge if I can. I've had this going on a few years and it's getting thick, and I may end up having to water it down a little bit. I'm going to take one of these little paint palettes and put a little bit of my Mod Podge out into a couple of these little sections here to make it a little easier to use it, and then I can put the lid on. It's what is it, 32 fluid ounces. So that's a quart. And it's taken me a long time to use that up. But when I bought that, I couldn't find Mod Podge in any of the dollar stores. Like Dollar Tree didn't carry it back then. And you couldn't get it in the little... Now I just pick it up at the Dollar Tree when I want something small and easy to work with. But I've been getting that out lately because I got to use it up. So I'm going to press that on there, set that one over there, and I'm going to put some on here. So I'm just doing this to get some print on these cards. There. So I've got some print. I'll have some print. And I'm just going to trim them out. There. Make sure all your edges are down. Mine aren't. So I'm just going to put a little bit on there and make sure all my edges are down really good. Let's see. Oh, this one's definitely not down very good. So if you hear that, it's my hot water heater. My crafting space is close by, and yeah, this crafting room has a few little glitches, but I have a crafting room, so I can't complain. I can't complain. I mean, there was times in my life that I haven't had a space to craft in at all. So having a few little glitches is not a problem. There. So I'm just going to let these have a little dry. There's a base. I've got something started. Now I definitely want to add a few little torn pieces. So I've got my scrap box here, and while these are drying, I'm going to go through and see if I can pick something out that I like. And I do like, ooh, isn't that pretty? Some of that might be nice on there. Really cool. And I do have even a little piece of that left. So, yeah, never throw anything away. So I'm going to work on these one at a time. I got my little sponge here, but I also have a little brush, so I'm just going to grab just one of these ones. So for putting some of these little wee tiny pieces on, it may help. So I think I'm going to start with, I like to know where my edge is, like that. So I think I'm going to start with this on the edge, and I'm just going to put it down here like this. And I am going to start collaging papers on top of this. I love collaging. I just love getting a look, kind of using different pieces and getting something that you wouldn't expect from something. And you never know, you can do them and they're never ever going to turn out to the same, especially if you don't use scissors and you're ripping your papers. I think that's part of what makes them look really awesome. I love mixed media. I really, really do. Excuse my nails. I've got my fake ones off. I'm trying to leave them off for a week. Let my nails breathe and heal up a little bit and repair themselves. And I need some of this gold in here. I just do. I love this gold paper and I need some of it in my life. It's so pretty. I'm kind of liking that. I think that's enough for that one to start with. I'm going to let it dry a bit. And I am going to put some on this one. that dried up really fast. That old pattern paper is really porous, but it's almost brittle. It's been there for so long. And I was really lucky. Our town has a, you know how they have your town has buy and sell sites and stuff. Ours has a group, and it's an auction group. And it's really neat in that people will auction things off instead of just put them on for a set price. And they'll start at maybe $2 or something like that. And, you know, the highest bidder at the end of 1 week gets it. And if you really want something, you kind of have to go on there and really like watch at the last minute to do the countdown thing and what have you. Anyway, to make a long story short, I got a whole shoebox full of paper patterns, dress patterns, and sewing, every kind of sewing pattern you could think of. And they were all from the 60s and 70s. And I paid $6 for it. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy that I got it for that price. I think that was amazing, an amazing price. I'm just going to get rid of this sharp edge and put another little piece of this on. So I'm really just grabbing little bits from my pile here beside me and sticking them down. Just like. Ooh, there's a piece right there. I'm going to break this piece up here. So, I'm going to let that one dry a little bit and work on this one some more. I really like this. Yeah. Yes, I'm putting some of this on. So, who else does this? I start collaging, and sometimes I can see my background paper when I'm done. Sometimes I can't. Yeah, I like that on there better. So I can still see a little bit of my background paper, so I'm doing pretty good this time, I think. Okay, I am going to... I'm just going to slide these papers off onto the top of this box to get them out of my way. And I'm going to hit this with the heat tool for a little bit. And dry the glue. There. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to take a little bit of this clear gesso. I'm going to put it in here. Just a little bit of it. I don't need a ton for what I want to do. So I have some paint here called Champagne Pearl. It's a metallic. I haven't even opened it yet. So my thoughts are, if I put a couple of drops of paint into this little bit of gesso, which will dry clear, then when I'm done putting some on here, there's going to be such a fine bit of paint that it's not going to show a ton. So I'm going to stir this up so that that paint mixes in with the gesso. Just like that. And then that's just a really muted, kind of the color of, I don't know, old plaster. And we'll see what's going to happen with it. But I'm going to take this sponge and I'm going to put some on the end of it. And then I'm just going to put it, I'm going to rub it into this, like this. And I'm thinking it's just going to push back the papers and the collage a little bit. Like that. But it's going to dry almost clear. So you could, I've done this by putting lots of paint color in. Like just put a little bit of the gesso in with your paint. This is a little bit of paint in with my gesso. So I love doing new techniques and trying new things on ATC cards and small pieces of art, because there. Maybe a little bit more up in here. Because this is a metallic paint, remember? So when it dries, I'm thinking that it might be like a glitter on here because it's so thin, but it's there. So that's that. So let's dry it a little bit again and see what happens. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but that put a layer on there that was almost like a thin film of stickles over the top. There's a glitter, but it's like a barely there glitter. It's very pretty. So that's that. I do need something to age this all down with, so I'm going to get some of my ink. I am going to take the Tim Holtz Distress Ink in the Vintage Photo, and I am going in quite a ways on this to give this a different look. Oh my gosh. That is so pretty. It's picking up in all the texture, all the ripped edges. I'm just going to put a little wee bit into the middle. And that is like just, oh, that's gorgeous. That's just gorgeous. And I'm going to do the same thing with this. This looks too clean to me. So it's just too clean. You can still see everything underneath, but it's way too clean. Way too clean. There. So I love that. So I've got, that was the Vintage Photo, but now I'm going to take the Walnut Stain, and it's going around the edge. And I like just using these little ink pads. These are the little minis. So I like using them just right straight from the pad. So I have my 2 backgrounds made. And now I need to go with my theme and what I'm putting on here. Oh, there's my little ATC cards that I've made. So you saw me make the backgrounds. And on the front of this one, what I've done is I put a piece of lace trim down here. I glued it down this side. I set these half back pearls or flat back pearls or whatever you call them, flat back pearls, down this side. And I didn't add extra glue to these, but I set them down in the glue that was coming through from here. And I used my fabric glue, just this Craft Medley fabric glue. It works fine. Then I put these ladies on here with this little, this is a little DIY stamp that I made in my Build Your Stash video from a little while ago. And if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and watch it. I made little mini envelopes and little wee DIY postage stamps. And then this was a piece from something else. I wrote Best Friends on it. And I put it across the bottom. And the pieces are kind of layered. They're flat. This one's up on top of this one. This one's up on top of this one, and so on. But there's only actually foam tape behind the one piece because I didn't want to make them too thick. If you make them too thick, they won't fit in the sleeves when you try to store them. So the last thing I'm going to do with these, of course, is take my black marker and make the outside edge black, because I do that. Even though this is all edged with the walnut stain distress ink. I was forgetting what the color was for a second. It's walnut stain. So I have vintage photo over the whole piece, and then walnut stain around the outside edges, and then black as a final edging. And whoops, I went down my back. I have to be very careful not to go down the front. There. And this piece, I don't have any lace or pearls on this one. It's very simple, but I do have this piece of amber. It's just a amber colored gemstone from this huge bag of gemstones that I got, which I can't remember where, but I hot glued it down. I put these little, let me point here, I put these little flowers down right here. And then I've got this ticket that says Avenue Theater, Dubois, Pennsylvania, admit 140 cents. And then I have my vintage lady, and she has this big elaborate hat on. So I figured she must be going somewhere, probably to the theater. And yeah, so I really like them. I think they turned out cute. For me, just creating that background piece to put everything on. And even though you don't see much when you get your other elements on, it's really important for me to have that in there, to have those torn papers and that layered look and the gesso and the paint and the... I didn't stamp on these ones, or I probably would have done that too. So that whole mixed media background, and then the little Tim Holtz pieces on the top. I love it. I really, really do. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment and share if you would like, because that helps to grow my channel. And by all means, if you're not already a subscriber, you know what to do. So bye-bye, everybody. Happy crafting, and I will see you in the next one.